Welcome to That's the Word, wholesome tales for the whole family. I'm Father James Yamauchi. Today's story, Take the Hint. Barney rubbed his eyes and stared. No, he was not seeing things. There was a light coming from the ground. Barney had been out in his fields, practicing his rigorous penances, when he spotted this light. He had no idea what sort of thing this could be. He approached the source warily, but he did not see anything, just the open field. He stood there for a moment, considering the light. Then he started digging. The light grew stronger as he dug, and soon he uncovered the source. There was a crucifix buried in the earth, and not a small one at that. Barney was surprised, to say the least. Why would there be this crucifix out here in the middle of this field? And furthermore, why was it emitting light? It was clearly miraculous. There was only one place for this crucifix to be. He should take it into town and give it to the church. Now, the church was 15 miles away, so this took some time. Curious passers-by accompanied him as he went, marveling at the crucifix. When he got to town, the priest gladly took the crucifix and placed it in the church. After praying for a little bit in the church, Barney turned and started the long trek back home. The next day, Barney was out in the fields when he again saw the light, glowing where it had been before. Barney was confused. Why was the light here again? He walked over to the hole where he had removed the crucifix from, and to his shock, discovered the crucifix was there. Somehow, overnight, the crucifix had returned to the hole. Sighing, Barney picked up the crucifix and once again headed into town. This time more people joined him on his way. All were amazed that the crucifix had returned to Barney's field. The priest gladly brought the crucifix back into the church, and Barney returned home. The next day, Barney was again out in the fields when he looked over and, to his frustration, saw the light again. He walked over, and sure enough, in the hole lay the crucifix. This time, though, he got the hint. Barney, the priest in the town, and the people of the area all knew what this meant. Clearly, the Lord was saying that he did not want the crucifix moved. Instead, he wanted a church built on that spot for the crucifix. Since that day when Barney dug up the crucifix, millions of pilgrims have come to visit that hole in the ground. When they come, they take some dirt from the hole. For over the centuries, many miracles have been associated with that dirt from whence the crucifix came. Few know of this chapel, which still stands in the heart of New Mexico, and fewer still know the name of Bernardo Abeyta. But for the hundreds of thousands of pilgrims who journey there every year, this site, which has been called the Lourdes of America, offers hope to those seeking a miracle. The chapel, called Santuario de Chimayo, And for this week, that's the word.
We want to give a huge shout out and thank you to Renee for giving us the idea to do a story on the Santuario de Chimayo. If you want to be an awesome person like Renee and suggest an awesome story idea to us, then you can reach out on our social links or at our email. All that is available at thunderrock.org.
It's amazing. We've now done 2 stories on chapels in New Mexico.
Neither of which we visited.
The first one, of course, was called The Spiral Architect. And I have to say, I've only been to New Mexico one time. That's when I was a kid. I think it was 1994. I believe I was around 9 years old. We were going from Florida to California and back. It was a road trip. And the only thing I remember seeing in New Mexico was Carlsbad Caverns.
You've only been there once?
I've only been there one time. And all I remember is seeing the bats come out in the evening. Why, how many times have you been to Carlsbad?
We've been 3.
3 times?
Yep. Now that I think about it, it's kind of odd that we kept going back there, but it's a cool place.
I know. I remember maybe 2 of the trips I remember, but I don't remember all 3.
I'm pretty sure it was 3. I know it was more than 1. I'm pretty sure it was more than 2.
All right.
It was a long trip. It's about a 9-hour drive.
And there's also, it's called Carlsbad Caverns. I'm sure we saw the cavern, but I don't remember it. It was so long ago, I have to look in the photo books.
So
photo albums. Sorry about that.
For those who don't know what Carlsbad Caverns is, it is a national park in southeast New Mexico where there's this massive cave called Carlsbad Caverns. There's this big room. It's called the Big Room, which is the largest chamber in North America. It is truly massive. And when you go there, you walk around the up and down the length of this room in the cave. And it really is amazing to see it. And then in the evening, through the giant yawning mouth of the cave, you can see the bats circle and go up and fly off to do their nightly hunting.
I guess I need to go back.
You do need to go back. It's a pretty cool place.
And maybe we should make a New Mexico trip out of it and see some of these chapels that we've talked about. So what's the history time frame of this Santuario de Chimayo?
So Santuario de Chimayo was built between 1814 and 1816. Now, important to note is that the story we told here is pretty much the consensus, it sounds like, version of the story. There are some competing stories. I'm not entirely sure about how prevalent some of the other versions are. But the main draw of Santuario de Chimayo is this holy dirt that is found in a hole in the chapel. And people say that it has been effective in miracles, similar to the water at Lourdes. Hundreds of thousands of pilgrims visit this place every year.
That's fascinating. I don't know if the general Catholic populace in America even knows about this place. John Peter and I also want to just briefly say that we still continue to do research on stories we have already released for the purpose of publishing things on the Story Extras page on the website. And we found a couple details that were off in the stories we gave called All is Calm and The Palace Can Wait.
Right. And just so you know, these details were not consequential. We messed up the rank of one of the characters, and we messed up the order of visitations that someone did on a road trip. They're not anything that fundamentally changes the story, but we have a very high bar for the quality of the information that we put into these stories. We work very hard to make sure that even the little details are actually true and we're not making stuff up in these stories. So if you want to see those corrections, they will be in the story extras for those stories. And in the future, we'll add this to the end little commentary we have. In the future, if we have corrections, they will also be in the story extras for the respective story. If you enjoy That's the Word, please share the word. You can see the story extras for this story, Take the Hint, at thunderrock.org, where you can see a map of where Santuario de Chimayo is, as well as some pictures, so you can plan your next road trip. Thunderrock.org is also where you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, and where you can find our social links in our email if you have any feedback or story ideas, like Renee did for today's story.
Thanks for listening, and join us next Wednesday for another wholesome tale for the whole family.